There is a small habit that many people repeat every single day without thinking much about it. You cook your food, you store it in the fridge, and later you reheat it. It feels safe, it feels normal. But here's the part most people don't realize. Some foods change after you reheat them. Not in a way you can see, or smell, or taste, but in a way that can slowly affect your health. And over time, that matters more than you think. I want you to imagine something simple. You prepare a healthy meal, maybe rice, some chicken, vegetables, maybe eggs in the morning. You feel like you're doing the right thing for your body. And in many ways, you are. But this is where it gets risky. Because what matters is not just what you eat, it's also how you handle it afterward. Studies suggest that when certain foods are cooled, stored, and then reheated, they go through subtle chemical changes. And these changes can create compounds your body doesn't handle well over time. Not immediately, not dramatically, but slowly, quietly. And that's what makes it important to understand. Now, I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to help you make small, simple decisions that protect your health in the long run. Let's start with something very common: rice. Most people don't think twice about reheating rice. It's one of the most widely eaten foods in the world. But here's what many people don't know. After rice is cooked and left to cool, it can become a place where certain bacteria grow, even if you put it in the fridge. Now, when you reheat it, you might think the heat makes it safe again. But here's the surprising part. Some of the toxins produced by these bacteria can survive the reheating process. They don't break down easily. And once they enter your body, they can affect your system in ways that are not always obvious right away. There's also another concern. Research shows that reheating starchy foods like rice repeatedly can lead to the formation of certain compounds linked to long-term health risks. So the issue is not just food safety, it's also what happens at a deeper level. A simple adjustment can make a big difference. Try to eat rice fresh whenever possible. If you store it, cool it quickly, and avoid reheating it more than once. Now, let's move to something many people rely on for a healthy diet: chicken. It's often seen as the safe protein, low-fat, high-protein, recommended by doctors and fitness experts. But this is where many people are surprised. When cooked chicken is reheated, especially at high temperatures, its structure begins to change. The proteins and the fats start to break down in a different way. Studies suggest that this process can create substances that may interact with your cells in ways that are not ideal over time. Not something you feel after one meal, but something that builds slowly. This doesn't mean chicken is bad. It simply means how you reheat it matters. If you do reheat it, do it gently. Avoid very high heat and avoid reheating it multiple times. Or sometimes, it's even better to eat it cold in a salad or wrap. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting, because the next food is something most people believe is extremely healthy. And they're right, under normal conditions. But there's one small detail that changes everything. I'm talking about leafy greens, like spinach. Spinach is full of nutrients. It supports your heart, your blood, your overall health. But after it's cooked and then stored, something begins to happen. Natural compounds inside the leaves start to change. And when you reheat it, those compounds can transform into forms that are less friendly to your body. Research has pointed to this process, especially when the food has been sitting for some time before reheating. This doesn't mean you should avoid spinach. It just means it's best eaten fresh or consumed without reheating after storage. And now, there's one more food, and this is the one that surprises almost everyone: There is one more thing I want you to understand, and this part is very important because most people think the danger comes from what they eat, but often the real issue comes from what happens after the food is cooked. The storage, the reheating, the repetition, and over time, those small steps begin to add up. You see, your body is very intelligent. It can handle occasional stress. It can recover from small exposures. But when something happens again and again, every day, that's when it starts to matter. This is what research often points to. Not a single meal, but long-term patterns. And this is where many well-meaning people make a mistake. They focus on eating healthy foods, but they don't pay attention to how those foods are handled afterward. And that creates a gap between intention and outcome. Let me give you a simple example. Someone prepares meals for the whole week. Chicken, rice, vegetables. Everything looks clean, balanced, healthy. But then, those same meals are reheated again and again, sometimes more than once, sometimes at high temperatures. And slowly, the food is no longer the same as it was on day one. This is where it gets overlooked, because visually, it looks fine, it smells fine, it tastes fine, but internally, it has changed, and your body responds to that change, even if you don't notice it immediately. This doesn't mean meal prep is wrong. It just means it needs to be done wisely. Now, here's a small shift that can help you immediately. Instead of cooking large portions for many days, try preparing smaller amounts more frequently. It may seem like a small change, but it reduces the need for repeated reheating, and that alone can lower unnecessary exposure to harmful byproducts. Another thing to keep in mind is how you reheat your food. Many people use very high heat, especially in microwaves. It's quick, convenient, but not always gentle on the food. High heat can create uneven temperatures. Some parts of the food become extremely hot, while others remain cooler. And in those overheated areas, chemical reactions speed up. This is why gentle reheating is often a better choice. Lower heat, slower warming. It may take a little more time, but it helps preserve the quality of the food. And in the long run, that matters. Now, I want to pause here for a moment and bring your attention to something deeper. Because this is not just about food. It's about habits, daily habits that feel small, but shape your health over years. Think about how many times you've reheated food this week. Once, twice, every day? Now imagine that pattern continuing for years. This is why awareness is so powerful. Because once you become aware, you naturally begin to adjust. Not out of fear, but out of understanding. And that's a much healthier place to make decisions from. You don't need to avoid leftovers completely. You just need to be a little more mindful, a little more intentional. For example, if you know you'll need food later, store it properly, cool it quickly, and try to eat it within a short time. Avoid letting it sit for too long. Avoid reheating it again and again. And when it comes to certain foods, like the ones we discussed, it's better to be a bit more cautious. Now, there's one final idea I want to leave you with, and I want you to really think about this. Health is rarely determined by one big decision. It's not about one perfect diet or one superfood. It's about the small things you do consistently, the habits you repeat without thinking. And sometimes, the most powerful changes are the simplest ones, like choosing to eat food fresh instead of reheating it multiple times, like lowering the heat instead of rushing the process, like being aware instead of assuming everything is fine. These are small decisions, but over time, they create a big difference. So as you go about your day, and the next time you reach for leftovers, just pause for a second. Think about how long it's been stored. Think about how you're reheating it. And ask yourself, is there a better way to do this? That one question can quietly improve your habits over time. And that's how real health is built. Not through fear, not through extremes, but through calm, informed, consistent choices. And the good news is, you're already on the right path, because now you're aware.